Broncos country, welcome back to the channel. My name is Parker. I'm your host today. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your day to join me. If you do enjoy the content, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're brand new. The support is greatly appreciated and it helps out a lot. Now, I was going to upload a video kind of recapping the game, what went wrong, some good things that I liked out of the game. But at the end of the day, of course, it was a Monday night game. The game got over, it got over like 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, almost 11 my time. I think it's like 9:10 for Mountain Time. And then since I'm at college right now and I'm out of the state of Colorado, finished around 11 my time. But I was going to recap that video, but I felt it was kind of lazy. I wasn't proud of the quality. It was just sort of there. And I was tired and I wasn't really making much sense in the video. So I decided to scrap that. And instead today we're going to be doing the Denver Broncos mock draft 2.0. It's, of course, a lot of us Broncos fans, we like to overreact. So this is just addressing the immediate needs. Of course, this isn't taking into account free agents we could sign. This is just a mock draft. As always, I want to remind you that Jesus is King. I pray that you give your life to him. Accept his free gift of eternal life by believing he died on the cross for your sins. And if you do, then you'll go to heaven. It's that simple. It's that easy. And as a Christian, I feel it's important to share that message with as many people as possible. Now that I said that, let's jump in to the mock draft. Starting at pick 83 in the third round, as we do not have a first or second round pick as of now. Could always trade up, could always trade a player for first or second round picks. I doubt that's going to happen though. So with the 83rd pick, I have us selecting Owen Pappoe, linebacker out of Auburn. Now, to me, the linebacker position was, it was not great. Jonas Griffith, I thought, played solid. Josie Jewell was injured. And Alex Singleton, he was just not good at all. He was missing tackles. He had a sack on Geno Smith, but he bounced off, didn't get the sack, and it eventually led to a Seattle touchdown. So, a big costly mistake there. Alex Singleton just does not look like the guy. And Owen Pappoe is someone who I really like out of the University of Auburn. I think he's a very, very talented player for the Tigers. You know, the Broncos might be able to get him in the later rounds, like the fourth round. I wouldn't take a chance on him. I think, if anything, he's going to rise in the draft. So this is great value, in my opinion. In 31 games, he has 99 solo tackles, 77 assist tackles for with 176 total tackles. He has 12 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, and an interception. He's not going to be the best in coverage. He can cover, and he's decent at it. Not his strong suit, but he's going to help stop the run. He's going to help negate any quarterback scrambles, and that's the main purpose of him. I think he's a solid linebacker with upside to develop in coverage. Moving on to our second, third round pick, I have us selecting Dawand Jones, offensive tackle out of Ohio State. I think, in my opinion, Dawand Jones is very, very raw. I believe that with the proper coaching and development, he can be one of the better offensive tackles. Now, of course, we need a right tackle. Left tackle is set at Garrett Bowles. I think there might be some improvements we can do to our offensive line because they did not look great whatsoever in week one. Of course, Quinn Miners being injured, that's a huge, huge blow. And then when Glasgow went in there, he kind of started to get beat at the guard position. But I think the main concern is that tackle. Billy Turner did not play in the game last night, and instead it was, who was it? Oh my gosh, Cam Fleming. It was Cam Fleming. He was decent. He wasn't the greatest. I like Dawand Jones. He stands at 6'8", 360 pounds. I think we need to get another offensive lineman in there if we don't sign a tackle in free agency. It's tough. We could address our interior offensive line, but I like Miners at guard. I like Cushberry at center. Plus, we drafted Wattenberg, and then we'll see what happens with Dalton Reisner. I think he'll be on the team. I think he's solid. So we'll see. But the main issue is getting that right tackle for the future. Next up in the fourth round at pick 124, I have us selecting Mazi Smith, defensive tackle out of Michigan, or Mazi Smith out of Michigan. Now, he is a defensive tackle, and the reason I went defensive tackle is I thought that DJ Jones, he played solid last night. didn't really notice our defensive ends, though. Dre'Mont Jones, he made a couple plays, but I think Mazi Smith is someone who can play the defensive tackle and rotate in there with DJ Jones. In 18 games, he has 19 solo tackles, 26 assist tackles with 45 total tackles. He has 5 tackles for a loss and half a sack, which half a sack isn't a lot, but A, he's played in 18 games, and B, his main use is not to sack the quarterback, it's to stop the run. And frankly, after last night letting Rashad Penny run all over our defense, we need someone like a Mazi Smith to stop the run and get another rotational piece in there. Whether you put him at, maybe you try him at defensive end, or you have him switch with DJ Jones at the nose tackle position because we want to run a 3-4. There's only one defensive nose tackle, and then you have 2 ends. However you want to play him, I think this would be it's very important to stop the run, especially if our defense doesn't pick it up. It was lackluster in the preseason, stopping the run, and then so far in the regular season, we have not been able to stop the run at all. In the 5th round, I have us selecting Kei'Trel Clark, cornerback out of Louisville. Now, this is kind of a best player available situation. I like Kei'Trel Clark here in the 5th round. Of course, you got Pat Surtain, you got Ronald Darby, who after this season will be entering the final year of his contract. Then you got guys like Quan Williams. You got guys Michael Ojemudia. You drafted Damari Mathis, but with a couple of players' contracts expiring, I do think it's going to be important to address the cornerback position sooner rather than later. Get some cornerbacks, have them get some experience, like the rookies, for example, so that way when, say, Darby's contract expires and if you don't re-sign him, Quan Williams' contract expires if you don't re-sign him, you have backups ready to go and fill in their place, and they're not going to be rookies and they're not going to be struggling because very few rookie cornerbacks succeed in the NFL. Pat Surtain was an exception. Very few cornerbacks is like Patrick Surtain. You think of Jalen Ramsey. Those are the two that come to mind in my opinion. Because even AJ Terrell, he struggled his first year in the league a little bit. But yeah, I like Kei'Trel Clark out of Louisville. Transferred from Liberty, is with Louisville. So I like Kei'Trel Clark. I think he's tremendous value. I think he could rise to maybe a day 2 pick. Maybe the Broncos have to select him in round 3 if they want him. But for now, he is a 5th round pick for me. And then finally, with our 6th round pick that we got for Malik Reed in a 7th round pick, I have us selecting from my alma mater, Trace Ford, edge rusher out of Oklahoma State. Trace Ford is so talented. He's just very, very raw. And I think if with the right coaching, Trace Ford can become an elite edge rusher. I truly believe that. I think he has so much upside. I've got to see it in person. In 23 games, and by the way, he missed all of last season with an ACL injury, so he's coming and recovering off of that. But in 23 games, he has 37 solo tackles, 16 assist tackles with 53 total tackles. He has 9.5 tackles for loss and 7.5 sacks with an interception. I mean, the interception, doesn't really matter unless you're playing him an outside linebacker and you're going to have him drop it into coverage, but I doubt we would do that. And speaking of that, I don't know why Bradley Chubb was dropping into coverage last night, but yeah, if we don't re-sign Bradley Chubb, even adding him as a depth, I think it's going to be important. Obviously, he wouldn't start. I hope we bring back Bradley Chubb. My ideal for the edge rusher would be Randy Gregory and Bradley Chubb as the starters. Then you have Nick Bonito, you got Trace Ford, you got Chris Allen, undrafted rookie this year, who's on the IR. You got a bunch of guys. You add some depth there. I think that's important, and I really, really think Trace Ford is talented. Go watch him film for yourself to just look at how much of a monster he is. Anyway, that was the video. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe. Hopefully our Broncos can bounce back week 2 against the Texans. Then we got the Niners, then the Raiders in week 4. So, the schedule is, we got the Texans this week. A lot of people think how this is a pushover team. After last week, we can't assume that. We cannot assume that. If we fall to the Texans, Broncos country, it's going to be a long season. It'll be a long season, especially with no first-round pick to look forward to. It'll be a long season, Broncos country. So, yeah. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe. Let's get this win against the Texans on Sunday. Thank you for watching. My name is Parker. Peace out.